It's been a year since the divorce. She's learned her lesson. Bring her home. She remarried long ago. The CEO husband broke down. Lucian Lu, let's get a divorce. She said those words. As I was standing at my son's 5th birthday party, soaking wet. Rain dripped from my dress. The room blazed with heat. Yet I froze, as if in an ice pit. Not from the rain. It was because I heard it with my own ears. The son I carried for 10 months. Right in front of a room full of guests, chirped with delight. I wish Aunt Sienna could be my new mom. I'm Serena Shin, young mistress of the Lu clan. Lucian Lu's wife. But in this house, I live worse than a servant. 5 years ago today, I nearly died giving birth to twins. Severe hemorrhage. Delivery room lights blinded me. I couldn't open my eyes. Nurses rushed in and out. Bag after bag of blood was pumped into my body. I was in so much pain I was delirious. But I still clutched my phone. I called Lucian. I wanted to tell him our children were about to be born. I wanted him to come be with me. The call connected. From the other end came the sound of fireworks exploding, and Sienna's coy, flirtatious laughter. Lucian went to buy popcorn. He's with me at Disney watching fireworks. Focus on the baby. Then she hung up. The sound of those fireworks exploded in my ears the entire night, like countless needles, piercing my heart. From that day on, I knew. The man I married never had me in his heart. But I held on anyway. For the children. For this house I fought tooth and nail to keep together. I learned to be a proper society wife. Floral arranging. Cooking. Art appreciation. I managed the Lu household impeccably. I got up before dawn every day to cook the kids' meals. In the dead of night, I was still up helping Nicky with his craft projects. I turned myself into a spinning top, never stopping. Too afraid to pause. Because I was terrified that once I stopped, I'd realize just how pathetic I was. But now, standing at the birthday party that should have belonged to my child, watching Lucian standing before the cake. Candlelight lit his cold face. Sienna stood beside him. Sienna had my son in her arms. The three of them standing together looked exactly like a perfect family. And my daughter, Zoe, clutched my hand tightly and whispered, "Mommy, let's go home." My tears almost fell. I called a server over and placed the cake box I'd been carrying on the table. It was a cake I spent the entire afternoon making. It was decorated with cartoon portraits of Nicky and Zoe. Every buttercream flower was piped by my own hand, stroke by stroke. My hand shook, not from cold, but from a heart torn apart. Nicky poked his head out from Sienna's arms, staring at me. Pure contempt in his eyes, he saw my mess. Then back at Sienna's perfect makeup. His little mouth twisted. "Mom, can you please stop embarrassing me? I don't want you at my birthday party." A silence fell over the private room for a moment. I heard laughter. No idea who it came from. Snickers, then whispers. Those socialite wives' stares cut into me like knives, carving me up. Lucian frowned, his tone glacial. "You're here. Go sit down. Don't just stand in the doorway." Sienna, hugging Nicky, flashed me a smile. It was the picture of sweet, tender grace. Serena. I'm just here to help Lucian look after the kid. Nicky really likes me. Nicky immediately chimed in. I love Aunt Sienna the most. The novelty candies Aunt Sienna bought me are so good. 100 times better than the cake Mom makes. I took a deep breath. I didn't want to fight. Didn't want a scene. Didn't want to make this even more humiliating for myself. I bent down, opened the cake box, and cut the cake in half. I slid one piece in front of Nicky and looked at him. This child I had loved for 5 years, whose features were a carbon copy of his father's, cold, detached, carrying an innate sense of superiority. "Nicky, Mom's here to make your birthday wish come true." My voice was very soft. "From this moment on, I am no longer your mother." "What kind of insane act is this?" Lucian's voice came crashing down from above. I looked up at him. The man was in a bespoke suit. The obsidian cufflinks at his wrists gleaming coldly under the lights. Chiseled, cold, unapproachable. I was once crazy about that face. Crazy enough to give up everything. Crazy enough to swallow every single grievance. But now, All I felt was a stranger's distance. Let's get a divorce, I said. Zoe with me, Nikki with you. Mom's mad? Nikki, way too cunning for his age, put his hands on his hips. His tone was as cold as his father's. Can Mom stop being so difficult? I hated the party, because you were there. My classmates all say I have a tacky, hillbilly mom. Zoe got upset. Nikki, how can you talk to Mom like that? Nikki completely ignored her and turned to Sienna. Aunt Sienna, where's the cake you got me? Sienna smiled and produced a beautiful cake box from behind her. She opened it, revealing an elaborate fondant cake. On it sat an incredibly lifelike little boy sculpted from sugar. Nikki's eyes lit up, and he threw himself at her. Wrapping his arms around Sienna's waist, Lucian stood off to the side. I didn't stop him. His lips twitched slightly. It was a tiny movement, but I saw it clearly. 7 years. I have never once seen a smile on his face. Because of our family. But Sienna walks in, and he smiles. I put down the cake knife, uncurling my fingers. One by one from the handle. Like releasing the last bit of hope for this marriage. Lucian. I don't love you anymore. I said it so calmly. So calmly it shocked even me. 7 years ago, when I married him, I was overjoyed, thinking I was the luckiest woman in the world. 7 years later, I stand here, saying those words, my heart a stagnant pool of water. Not even a ripple. Lucian's brow furrowed deeper. He didn't believe me. He never believed I would actually leave him. In his eyes, I'm still that hillbilly he dragged back from the county. A woman who would stop at nothing to marry into money. A useless nobody who couldn't survive without him. Are you making a scene? Are you making a scene? Are you making a scene? His voice was colder than ice. You only have a bachelor's degree. What can you do without me? Drag my daughter out to starve? I didn't answer. I just squeezed Zoe's hand a little tighter. Sienna spoke, sickeningly sweet. Serena. Don't be like this. Lucian's stressed at work. He's not himself. Don't take it to heart. Work things out with Lucian. I'll step aside. I won't tear your family apart. Listen to her. So considerate. So understanding. But as the words left her lips, the sapphire bracelet on her wrist caught the light. I recognized that bracelet. Lucian bought it during his business trip last month. He told me it was a gift for a client. But the size of that bracelet fit Sienna's wrist. I measured it secretly. I've memorized every trip he took, every single thing he bought, every person he met. I kept it all in my head. I loved him like a psycho, so hard I turned to dust. I loved him until I'd trampled my own dignity underfoot. But I don't want it anymore. The divorce papers. I'll have my lawyer draft them. I said. I'm taking half of the assets under your name. You'll pay monthly child support for Zoe. Nothing more, nothing less. But what's mine? I won't take less. Lucian laughed coldly. You've certainly done the math. 7 years as a housewife. Time to settle the tab. I looked him dead in the eye. Lucian. I wasn't your maid. Wasn't just a nanny for your kid. I wasn't some disposable toy to toss aside. These past 7 years, everything I did for you, it cost me. This is the price. Sienna let out a dramatic gasp beside us. Serena, how can you speak to Lucian like that? He's your husband. Not for much longer. I took Zoe's hand and turned around. I pushed open the door. The corridor was long, lights blinding. My shadow stretched out and out, impossibly long. Lucian's voice echoed behind me. Serena, you walk out that door today, don't even think about coming back. My footsteps didn't falter. Zoe tilted her face up to look at me. Her eyes were red-rimmed. Mommy, are we not coming back? No, we're not. Mommy's taking you to a better life. But, Zoe hesitated. Nikki, the things he said, please don't be sad, Mommy. I crouched down. I cupped my daughter's round little face in my hands. Her eyes, big and bright, like black grapes. I laughed against my will. Tears and a smile welled up together. Mommy's not sad. I told her. Mommy's finally seeing clearly. Zoe reached out her tiny hand and wiped my tears for me. Her hand was so warm. Thin calluses on her palm. Those hands, in her father's eyes, were proof she wasn't ladylike enough. But as far as I'm concerned, they're the battle scars of her natural strength. The mark that makes her exceptional. Hand in hand, we walked out the hotel doors. The rain had stopped. The damp, earthy smell of petrichor hung in the air. I breathed deep, as if expelling 7 years of suffocation from my lungs all at once. My phone buzzed. A bank alert. 60 million. Lucian had sent it. My divorce agreement was explicit, half of all liquid funds and fixed assets under his name. The money landed faster than he'd anticipated, because he expects I'll burn through it in no time and come slinking back to him on my knees. What he doesn't know is, in my hands, the 60 million can multiply many times over. I took Zoe home to my family. Family home sounds nice, but really, there's no warmth there. I'm the Shin daughter they lost for 18 years. Before finding me again. In that house, I'm a stranger. My biological mother, Tang Xinbao, is my father Shin Tingzheng's favorite. She's always been daddy's little princess, fragile, naive, clueless. Still acts like a lovesick teenager, even in her 40s. Curled in his arms, simpering like a child. And my father, Shin Tingzheng? He only sees Tang Xinbao and their daughter, Shen Yanqing. That's right, Sienna isn't a Su. She's a Shen. My biological sister. Raised under the Shen roof, trained in piano and calligraphy. The brightest, most dazzling jewel of Beijing's elite social circle. And me? The lost daughter, found after 18 years. Brought back for one purpose, to take her place in the Lu clan. Because Sienna said no. She found Lucian too cold. Too many rules. Too much pressure. So she shed fake tears, batted her lashes, and Shen Tingzheng dragged me back from some backwater town. Shoved me into Lucian's wedding car. I was so naive. I thought I married for love. Lucian, in that chapel. In an ivory white suit, that chiseled face completely blank. I still thought he was the most beautiful thing. When I said I do, my voice trembled. Not from fear, from sheer, idiotic excitement. I truly believed he'd fall for me. He never did. Our wedding night, he disappeared into his study. From that moment on, we never shared a bed again. When I was pregnant, he wasn't there. When I was in labor, he was watching fireworks with Sienna. When my fever spiked to 103, he was out scouring the beach for a drunk Sienna. When I stood outside the hospital, baby in arms, unable to get a cab, his car drove right past me. And in the passenger seat, Sienna. Laughing, joking, not a care in the world. Back then, I was so pathetic. Too pathetic to even confront him. Too scared to compete with Sienna. I didn't even dare cry. I was terrified he'd find me annoying. Immature. Not fit to be a proper Mrs. Liu. But Sienna? She could do it all. She could cling to him with no shame. Could ring him in the middle of the night and drag him out. Could parade around in couple watches, matching his exactly. Could shed a single, delicate little tear. And have him in absolute knots over her. And me? I timed my illnesses around his schedule. Back at the Shen house. With Zoe, Shen Tingzheng's face turned to stone. He tore into me immediately, demanding to know why I divorced Lucian. They screamed I was an ungrateful brat who shamed the family. Who the hell do you think you are? His palm slammed the table. You're some country bumpkin we scraped off the pavement. Lucian marrying you was your greatest blessing. Do you know how much pride I had to swallow just to beg for that match? The lengths I went to. And you just tossed it away like garbage. Sienna sat nearby, cradling her soup like a pampered child. She smirked at that, eyes flicking up. Gone in a flash, tucked quickly away. She set the bowl down, then masked it with sisterly concern. Serena, don't be rash with Lucian. He's actually pretty good to you. So good. Good enough to send me fishing for glass beads in a frozen lake. That was 3 years ago. In Lucian's study, there was a wish jar. Inside were keepsakes from his late sister. 32 glass beads. Nikki, being the little rascal, used a slingshot and shot every last one into the lake. Lucian was absolutely livid. The entire Lu clan held their breath. He pointed at me, fetch them. Dead of winter. Thin ice covered the lake. Dressed in flimsy clothes, I stood in waist-deep, freezing water, groping for those beads one by one. My fingers went numb, lips purple, shaking hard. But I missed none, fearing his wrath. I stayed in that lake all night, recovered all by dawn. I didn't even stop to catch my breath. Went home for a hot shower. Then made the kids breakfast. Worked the whole day through. That evening, while helping them with homework, I was burning up like a hot coal. Forehead hot enough to fry an egg. I called him. No answer. Called the house staff. They'd already left for the day. I drove myself to the hospital. Halfway there, I almost crashed into a guardrail. Finally at the ER, I called him again. Still, no answer. I found out later. Sienna had gotten drunk that night and run off to the beach. He rushed out to find her, so I waited at the hospital. What came for me wasn't him. It was a consent form for termination. I lost the baby. I signed the papers alone. Went into surgery alone. Alone from surgery. Nurse asked, "Where's your family?" I said, "There is no family." That whole thing. I never told a soul. Including Lucian. Because I knew. Even if I'd said something, he wouldn't have cared. He'd just call me dramatic. Say it was some pathetic act. I'm done competing with Sienna for attention. No strength left. Professor Shen slammed his chopsticks. Told me to leave, said no place for a disgrace. Said never return if I left. I didn't cry. I ran out of tears for this crap a long time ago. I packed my things, took Zoe by the hand, and walked right out the Shen family gates. The night wind was cold. Zoe looked up and asked, "Mommy, where are we going?" I thought for a moment. To wherever I'm meant to be. I took Zoe. To Azure Shores. A top-tier penthouse under Lucian's name. The divorce papers were crystal clear, this place is mine. But I know exactly what goes on in Lucian's mind. He thinks I'm crashing here temporarily, waits for me to fail. Waits for me to grovel, to come tail wagging. Like a pathetic dog. He'll wait forever. Once Zoe settled. I opened my laptop. The screen lit up. Dense lines of code and trading charts reflected in my eyes. It hit me like a stimulant. A child prodigy at Huaca University. Gold medalist in the International Math Olympiad. Top 10 finish in the WRC. Those titles? I'd already bagged them all before I was 20. But after I married Lucian, I dumped every single one. What I threw away wasn't just a math genius's pride. It was myself. Now, I'm taking it all back. I spent 10 minutes writing a program. It analyzed 5 years of A-share market trend data, filtering out 12 severely undervalued stocks. I took the 60 million Lucian had transferred me, and moved every last cent into a brokerage account. Then I called the account manager at Huatai Securities, Howard Lay. When Howard heard I was investing 60 million, his voice cracked. "Miss Shen, are you sure? The market's brutal right now. In a week, that 60 million? Could be down to 10. I know. Just do it. Make the trades." Howard went dead quiet on the line, cursing me as a reckless fool. He didn't argue again. He made the trades. After hanging up, I leaned back and closed my eyes. On the screen, the candlestick charts danced. Red and green candles. Like a miniature version of my entire life. 7 years down. Time to rally. Next morning, I was jolted awake by a phone shrilling in my ear. The Lou housekeeper called. Nikki's allergy flared. She demanded meds. I hung up. She called again. I blocked her. The landline rang. I yanked the cord out of the wall. Then the doorbell. I peered through the peephole. It was the property manager for Azure Shores, holding up his phone. The screen showed an active call, Lucian. I didn't open the door. My own phone buzzed. Unlisted number. I answered it. Lucian's voice froze bone. "Serena. Our son's having a reaction. Get it? You won't even tell us where his medicine is. Are you even human?" "1 million. What?" "Your son's medical profile. 1 million. Deal, Lucian, transfer money, get info. Don't. You can tear the mansion apart. But a warning. Nikki is allergic to penicillin. If he's taken penicillin, I won't need to lift a finger. You, Lucian, will have killed your own son with your bare hands." There was 2 seconds of dead silence on the line. Then, a low, furious curse. And a notification. 1 million incoming. I sent over Nikki's full medical details, and attached one extra line. FYI, he needs his own bed. If he's hospitalized, you'll need his sheets, duvet, and pajamas from home. But you probably wouldn't know that. After all, you've never spent a single night asleep beside him. After sending that message, I tossed the phone aside. Turned, hugged Zoe, and slept. Nikki stirred in my arms and murmured sleepily, "Mama." "Who was it?" "A stranger," I said. "It doesn't matter." That afternoon, I took Nikki to her uncle's gym. Landon is my adoptive family's older brother, an army vet. He runs a mixed martial arts studio. I asked him to find Nikki a boxing coach, and he didn't hesitate. He set it up fast. The coach was in his early 20s. He was a retired national-level athlete. Seeing Nikki's chubby little face, he chuckled. "Little girl? Boxing is tough. No crying on my watch, okay?" Nikki looked serious. "I won't cry." The coach raised the mitts. "Come on. Give me your best shot." Nikki glanced back at me. I nodded at her. And then? She threw the punch. The coach went flying backwards. He slammed onto the mat and slid a good 6 feet. Lying on his back, his eyes were wide as saucers. He was muttering to himself. What just happened?" Nikki rushed over. "Coach, are you okay?" The coach clutched his chest, coughing for a while before he got up. His gaze on Nikki shifted. He paused, silent. Then he said, almost tear-jerkingly funny, "This kid. I can't train her." Landon leaned on the wall, smirking. "Can't train her? With that kind of power? She's at least twice as strong as a grown man. And besides, the structure of her bones and muscles, it's a pure natural gift." The coach stammered with excitement. "Such talent. Should go to the provincial team. No, national. No. She's goddamn Olympic champion material." Nikki didn't really get it. She just looked up and asked, "Mama, can I keep learning boxing?" "You can." I crouched down and fixed her crooked glove. "If you want to learn, Mama will let you." Landon watched us silently for a moment. Then he spoke. "I know a retired coach from the national team. I'll send him tomorrow." I smiled. "Thanks, bro." Landon stayed quiet, staring out the window. I knew he never approved of my marriage into the clan. Back then, when I was hell-bent on marrying Lucian, he'd warned me he wasn't worth it. I didn't listen. I dove in stubbornly. Looking back, some people only learn the hard way. That evening, I was leaving the gym with Nikki when we ran into the last person I expected to see there. Sienna. She was wearing a tight sports outfit. Astride a custom heavy bike, helmet under her arm. Her long hair was a little messy from the wind. She spotted me. And smiled. A sweet, sickly sweet smile. "Sis. Fancy meeting you. Just picking up Nikki from school. Thought I'd swing by." Nikki peeked out from behind her. A kid's helmet on his head, glaring at me with pure disdain. "I don't want to see you." Zoe was so angry her fists clenched tight. "You don't want to see me? Nikki, don't be like that." Sienna's voice was so sweet, like a caring big sister. "Nikki is still just a kid," he didn't mean it, Serena. "Don't hold it against him." I just watched her, saying nothing. She kept fidgeting with her phone in her hand. The screen clearly showed me mopping the floor at the gym today. Someone must have sent it. Caption, Mrs. Liu. Reduced to being a janitor at a gym. Sienna turned the screen towards me, all fake sympathy, and said, "Sis, if you're low on cash, just tell me. I'll have Lucian bump up your alimony. You're still the mother of the Liu clan's 2 kids, after all. Doing that kind of work outside? How humiliating." "I'm not humiliated," I said. "Earning an honest living is nothing shameful. But Lucian would be so upset if he knew." She batted her long eyelashes. "Lucian, actually, still cares about you a lot. Don't hurt him like this." I laughed, at myself, for ever having considered this woman family. "Sienna," I said, "you're in love with Lucian. Aren't you?" Her smile froze for a second. "You're in love with him. So just go after him openly," I said. "Stop the saintly act. Like you're so kind. So considerate. That bracelet on your wrist? He gave you, didn't he? And that necklace on your neck? He bought that for you too? Matching couples watches." You call him late at night, shed a few tears in front of him. He's heartbroken. I don't care anymore. So stop putting on a show for me. Sienna's face went pale. She hadn't expected me to be so direct. She hadn't expected me to be this indifferent. Sis, you've got it all wrong. Lucian and I are just what? I cut her off. Just childhood sweethearts? Just best friends? Just like brother and sister? Sienna. You've said that 100 times. I'm tired of it. If you really love him, go for it. I'm already divorced. He's not my man anymore. Take him if you want. Stop doing it behind my back. Nikki sat on the back of the scooter, not understanding a word we were saying, just nagging impatiently. Aunt Sienna, let's go. I don't want to talk to Mom. Sienna bit her lip, and finally, she dropped the act. She put away that sweet, sugary smile, and put on a look I couldn't quite read. A smirk. With a touch of mockery. Sis, you're right, she said. I love Lucian. Always have. What makes you special? What gives you the right to just swoop in out of nowhere and steal what was meant for me? You're just some hillbilly from the sticks. What do you even know? Do you even understand what high society is? Do you know how to manage a powerful family? Do you know how to accompany Lucian to all those important events? Why not shame him before those snobs? You know nothing but housework. Raising the kid, baking cakes. You think that's enough? What Lucian needs is a woman who can stand by his side. Not a nanny who just orbits around him. She finished. Her chest was heaving, a glint in her eyes. I couldn't tell if it was rage or something else. I looked at her, and suddenly felt a surge of pity. Not for myself. For her. She actually believes Lucian truly likes her. Believes she won. That the thing she snatched from me is a treasure. What she doesn't know is that Lucian has never genuinely loved anyone. He didn't love me. He loves himself, not her. Done? I said. Sienna froze for a second. If you're done, take Nikki and go. I went on. You taught him street racing. You feed him junk food. You let him disrespect me. All of it. I see everything clearly. Sienna. You think you're winning him over? You're destroying him. What's it to you? Sienna sneered. He calls me Mom now. Good luck with that. I took Zoe's hand, turned, and took 2 steps. Then paused. Oh, and by the way, Nikki is allergic to milk. You might want to consult a doctor before feeding him dairy. Oh, I forgot. You never ask. You just feed him. And then pretend to be worried sick when he breaks out. Sienna. If you really want to be his mother, first learn how to protect him. I didn't look back. But I heard Nikki's cough behind me. And the sound of Sienna scrambling to kickstart her motorcycle. The following days were fulfilling. Day, took Zoe to Professor Shin's for tutoring. Shin Tunghua was my PhD advisor. Ex-dean of math at Capital University. A titan in the mathematics world here. Back then, he had high hopes for me, grooming me as his last and most dedicated protege. But in my 3rd year of the direct doctorate program, I quit. I married into the Liu clan. The way he looked at me then. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. No anger. No scolding. He just turned his head away in silence and never looked at me again. I broke him, ashamed to face him now. But his son, Landon, told me Professor Shin's health was failing. That lately, he'd been calling my name in his dreams. Landon is a hotshot lawyer in the capital's elite circles. Outwardly chummy with Lucian, but in reality, neither can stand the other. He has a devilishly handsome face. Chiseled features. A faint, elusive dimple on his left cheek. When he smiles, it's like a spring breeze skimming a lake. Maddeningly tender. But I know the man is anything but simple. He's a partner at Yuanqing law firm. Never lost a case he's handled. Efficient and ruthless at putting opponents behind bars. One of the people the Beijing business circle least wants to cross. He put me in touch with Hong Shirlei from Huatai Securities, and connected me with several investors. When I asked why he was helping, he said, because my dad misses you. I know he was lying. Professor Shin missing me, sure. But Landon's reasons for helping me ran way deeper than that. Too drained to dig in. I just want to reclaim the lost time. To pick up the pieces I dropped. That time spent solving problems at Professor Shin's house was the happiest I've been in 7 years. Those complex formulas, the profound proofs, the mind-bending logical deductions, like a key. Unlocking a brain I hadn't used in years. And I realized, I hadn't lost my edge. If anything, I was sharper than before. Maybe all those years of hardship sharpened my mind even more. Or maybe, I was just born for this. Professor Shin kept saying he hadn't forgiven me. New issues daily, demanded results. He'd say not to come see him until they were done. But every time I submitted my answers, he'd sneak a glance. Then, as if it were nothing, he'd put the papers away. He smirked, hands behind back, left. A week later, the market surged. Those 12 stocks I'd bought? An average gain of 20%. 60 million turned into 72 million. When Shirley called me, his voice was actually shaking. Miss Shin, how did you spot this? Market fell, your picks rose. Do you have some kind of inside information? No inside info, I said. I just did the math. Did the math. Yeah. I predicted it using a mathematical model, I told him. These 12 stocks are severely undervalued. Their actual value is at least 3 times the current share price. Buying in now is the perfect time to bottom fish. Shirley was silent on the other end for a long time. Then he said, Miss Shin, I want to learn math from you. I laughed. But my good mood didn't last. That afternoon, Lucian's secretary called. Lucian wanted to see me at the Lu Group penthouse. I didn't want to go, but he said if I refused, he'd freeze all assets under my name. I knew he had the power. Lucian, that man. His knack, finding weaknesses. He misread my weak spot as money. I'd come crawling back. So I went. The Lu Group penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a panoramic view of the entire city. Lucian stood at the window, his back to me, suit impeccably pressed. His silhouette cut sharp against the setting sun. Shadows stretched long across the marble floor. Like a chasm impossible to cross. He turned around, looking at me with the cold stare you'd give a total stranger. Serena, done with this tantrum? I stayed silent. Standing emotionless. 60 million. Down 20 million in a single week, he scoffed. Who do you think you are? A housewife who can't even make sense of a basic financial statement. He gambled on stocks. I lost nothing, I said. I made 12 million. Lucian let out a derisive laugh. Who are you fooling? The whole market tanked. Ask Henry Hong yourself, I said. Or just pull up your stock app right now and see. Lucian frowned, picked up his phone, and glanced at the screen. His expression didn't crack, but I noticed. His knuckles white. Beginner's luck, he spat. Tossing the phone onto the table. Serena, Serena, Serena. Don't think luck lasts forever. Without the Lu clan, you are nothing. You can't even afford Zoe's tuition. You have nowhere to live. You'll never even find a job. I've already found a job, I said. Next month, I'm entering the Ollie mathematics competition. If I place, I'll have companies fighting to hire me. Lucian looked like he'd just heard the funniest joke in the world. His mouth twisting into a mocking smirk. You. In a math competition. A college grad, going head-to-head with PhDs. And postdocs? Serena, has leaving the Lu clan cost you your sanity? You'll see when I compete. I said. Is this really why you dragged me here? Lucian's face darkened. He stepped forward, towering over me with his height. The scent of his cologne filling the space between us. The scent that once made my heart race now just felt suffocating. Come home, he said. Just those 2 words. What? Come home. His voice dripped with condescension, as if throwing me a lifeline. Swallow your pride and apologize. I'll let bygones be bygones. You can still be Mrs. Lu, still be Nikki and Zoe's mother. Stay home with the kids. Stop embarrassing yourself in public. I stared at him and almost laughed. Apologize? For what? For loving him for 7 years? For giving him 2 children? For keeping his household running like clockwork? For letting him and Sienna walk all over me, until I finally found the spine to say no. Lucian, I said. Did it occur to you Serena Shin, don't need you? His eyes narrowed a fraction. Did you think marrying you was my only way up in life and I'd die without you? I took a step closer, tilting my head back to meet his gaze head on. Did you think those 7 years were some debt I owed you? Should I be grateful? Like a dog jumping at your command? Enough. He frowned. Not enough, I said. I need you to know. You didn't leave me, Lucian. You're not that great. You're cold. Selfish. Arrogant. So damn full of yourself. You thought you gave me the world, but all you ever gave me was a cage. I lived in that cage for 7 years. Now I'm unlocking the door myself. I'm leaving. Think you can just walk away? He sneered. Every property in your name belongs to the Liu clan. The money in your account? I put it there. Our daughter attends a school that I pay for. Serena. What do you own that's actually yours? I smiled. This. Me. I'm mine. I said. My mind. My talent, my future. All of it belongs to me. Those are things you can't take. I turned and walked away. I heard something shatter behind me. I didn't look back. Over the next week, it was like I'd unlocked a superpower. The market kept climbing, my assets broke the 80 million mark. I was day trading while prepping for the math Olympiad. Sleeping 4 hours a night, plowing through 7 years of math literature. I pulled it all out and reviewed everything from scratch. Professor Shin's students looked down on me at first, thinking a washed-up housewife was just there for kicks. But when I completed Professor Shin's Olympiad problem set, in under an hour, with solutions far more elegant and concise than theirs, the look in their eyes changed completely. Senior, you used to be at Huaca University? A boy with glasses leaned in, disbelief in his tone. The gifted program, right? Uh-huh. I kept writing formulas on the whiteboard without looking up. Then why didn't you continue on to a PhD? My pen paused for a beat. Because I got married, I said. 2 seconds of silence. The boy scratched his head, lost for words. Someone nudged him and whispered, drop it. I just smiled and kept writing. It's fine. I'm not afraid for people to know my past. Those are all parts of my life story. I've never regretted loving Lucian. That was my own choice. What I regret is giving up a bright future for a man who wasn't worth it. But it doesn't matter. I'm picking it back up now. There's still time. On Math Olympiad Day, I wore a white blouse and black tailored pants. My hair was tied back in a low ponytail, light makeup on my face. Zoe stood in front of the mirror, looking at me with sparkling eyes. Mommy looks so beautiful. Thank you, sweetheart. I bent down and kissed her forehead. Landon drove me to the venue. We barely spoke on the way. When we reached the gates, he glanced at me through the rearview mirror and said, go get them. I nodded, pushed the door open, and stepped out. I bent down and kissed her forehead. Lu Feng drove me to the exam. We barely spoke on the way. At the exam hall entrance, he glanced at me in the rearview mirror and said, good luck. I nodded and got out of the car. The exam was held in the math building at Capital University. Young faces were everywhere, each one full of ambition and swagger. Walking among them, I felt like an alien. I'm 30, wearing a cheap white blouse. My face already showing the passage of time. Hands calloused from chores, yet among them I walked. My back was ramrod straight. Because I know I'm not inferior to anyone. The moment the test was placed on my desk, I took a deep breath and started reading. Question 1. Function theory. Standard format. Done in 3 minutes. Question 2. Number theory. 5 minutes. Q3. Combinatorics. The difficulty spiked. I paused to think. Sketched a few lines on the scratch paper, then wrote down my answer. The room was silent except for the scratch of pens on paper. I finished the entire exam in an hour and a half. Checked it over twice, and handed it in half an hour early. The proctor was an old professor. He looked startled. Returned it, flipped pages, brow furrowed. When I walked out of the exam hall, the sun was brilliant. sycamore shadows flickered in the breeze. I suddenly remembered myself at 18. That year, I stood on the podium at the International Math Olympiad. The gold medal hung around my neck, a sea of flashbulbs below. A reporter asked me, "Miss Shen, what do you want to do in the future?" I said, "I want to be a mathematician." Back then, I had a fire in my heart and light in my eyes. I thought I could change the world. Then Lucian appeared. The light in my eyes died, the fire in my heart went out. I believed that love could fill the void. I didn't realize until the end that love was the hand that pushed me off the cliff. But I don't blame him. I chose to jump. I chose to give up. Now I'm going to claw my way back up. The day the results were posted, Landon was the first to call me. His voice was shaking with excitement. "Miss Shen, first place." I wasn't really surprised. I just gave a soft hum. "Do you know who got second place?" Landon was buzzing. "Capital U PhD, you beat by 20 points. Do you know what that means?" "That's annihilation. A massacre." "Miss Shen, you're a beast." I smiled. But my smile was cut short by another incoming call. It was Lucian. "You cheated." His voice was a blade of ice. "Serena, how could you possibly? You're a housewife." 7 years no math. First place? Did you hire a stand-in? Did you buy the questions in advance?" "Lucian," I said. "Is it killing you to see me do well?" Silence on the other end. "Your rank has nothing to do with me," he stated. "But if you used my money to hire a ringer or buy the exam, that's fraud. I could have you jailed." "Sue me. I'll wait." I hung up the phone. But Lucian didn't sue me. He pulled exam footage, reviewed my entire test, looked into every competition record I ever had, and he discovered everything I said was true. I didn't cheat. I earned first place with my own abilities. He had no idea how to deal with this reality. Because in his eyes, I had always been a complete failure. In the days that followed, my life went into fast forward. Once the news of my Olympiad championship got out, my phone exploded. Headhunters, investment firms, tech firms line up, begging to partner with me. I picked top prospects, closed several deals, signed a few contracts. In just 1 month, my personal assets surpassed 200 million. I sold the Clear Bay house and used the profits to buy a small villa in West Hills. It was close to Landon's gym, and not far from Professor Shen's place. Zoe transferred to a regular kindergarten nearby. It lacked the opulence of the elite school, but Zoe was overjoyed. Because for the first time, she made real friends. "Mom, you won't believe it, May gave me a hairpin today." Zoe bounced home after school, showing off to me. She said, "A thank you for cleanup help. You helped her?" I asked with a smile. "Yeah, she's too short to reach the blackboard, so I wiped it for her," Zoe said. "Mom, it feels so good to help someone." I tousled her hair. "This right here. This was the childhood I wanted. Not being locked up in some elite preschool, vying over clothes, cars, and family wealth, but running free in the sunlight, learning to be kind, learning to share, learning to help others." And what was Nicky learning at that elite preschool? He learned power means obey me. That my dad is rich, so I can buy anything I want. And my mom's a nobody, I disown her. These were all lessons taught by Lucian and Sienna. I don't resent Nicky. He's still young, he doesn't know any better. He's been brainwashed by the people around him with poisonous ideas, believing cold arrogance is strength. When he grows up, he'll understand. And maybe by then, he'll have regrets. But I won't be waiting around for him anymore. 3 months later, I received an invitation. As Washing Capital CIO, 8 million yearly. Plus performance bonuses and equity incentives. I didn't hesitate. I signed the contract immediately. On my first day of work, I stood in the penthouse office at Washing Capital, gazing at city lights from the glass wall. And suddenly, it felt like a lifetime had passed. 7 years ago, I was also standing in a penthouse at Lou Corp. I was wearing a custom wedding gown, thinking I'd married the best man in the world. Now, I'm standing in a penthouse across town in a cheap white blouse. No ring on my finger, but you know what? I feel like I own the whole damn world. Because I finally own myself. The day Sienna came looking for me, it was pouring rain. She stood outside, soaked, makeup ruined, hair plastered. "Serena," she said hoarsely. "Help me." I held my umbrella, not saying a word. "Lucian, he sent Nikki abroad." Sienna sobbed, barely able to catch her breath. "He said I'm not fit to be his mother. He says I'm a bad influence. But Serena, I do love Nikki. I never meant to. I never wanted to hurt him." I watched her, feeling absolutely nothing. "You love Nikki?" I said. "Then tell me, what's he allergic to?" Sienna froze. "Do you know which teddy bear he has to hold to fall asleep? Do you know what color pen he likes to use when he does his homework? Do you know why he hates carrots? Do you know who his best friend is at school?" Sienna's mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. "You don't know," I said. "All you know is buying him junk food, drag racing, talking back, disrespecting me. And you think that's love? Sienna, you don't love Nikki. You love being Mrs. Lou. You love Lucian's money, his status, the sense of security he gives you. You've never loved anyone. You only love yourself." Sienna just stood there, rain and tears. "Serena, I was wrong. Please," she begged. "You have to talk to Lucian. Convince him to let me see Nikki. I swear, I'll never mess up again. I'll take good care of him, I promise." "You've got the wrong person," I said. "Lucian and I are divorced. His affairs are no longer my concern. Nikki is his son. How he chooses to raise him is his prerogative. You go to him. Don't come to me." "Serena." I turned and left, umbrella in hand. Sienna's wails echoed behind me, but the rain was so loud. Her cries were drowned out, like a stray cat abandoned on the street. I didn't look back. Not because I'm heartless. She had it coming. It feels like that's where the story should end, doesn't it? But life isn't a story. Life keeps going. After Nikki was sent abroad, Lucian's mansion went silent. The staff scattered, one by one, and Mrs. Wang was let go. The vast Lu home is now just him. Every night he returns, he's greeted by an empty dining room and a spotless, soulless kitchen. He sat at the table one evening, and found himself suddenly craving my congee. That bowl of congee. The dish he used to despise most, deeming it poor people's food. And yet there was no one there to make it for him. He recalled the salt water glass on his nightstand each dawn. He remembered the shirts in the closet, always perfectly pressed. He remembered the bathwater, always exactly the right temperature. He remembered the files on his desk, always arranged just so. He used to take all of that for granted. Thought it was just part of being Mrs. Lou. But after I left, he finally realized, not just anyone could do those things. The new housekeeper never left his salt water ready before he woke up. Couldn't iron his shirts without a single crease. Couldn't get the bath temperature exactly right. Never brought him a bowl of hot soup when he came home late from work. He just sat there in that empty dining room. My number staring up at him from his phone screen. He hesitated, then finally called. "The number you have dialed is busy." He tried again. "The number you have dialed is powered off." He smashed the phone. The screen shattered. He thought I'd cave. Thought I'd show up the moment he needed me. Thought I'd return, no matter how he treated me. But he was wrong. Because that Serena doesn't exist anymore. That foolish girl who gave up everything for love is dead. The Serena who's here now is a single mother. A math prodigy. An investment officer making millions a year. A woman who's built a life entirely on her own terms. I don't need Lucian. I don't need the Lu clan. I don't need anyone's charity or pity. I have my daughter. I have my career. I have my talent. I have my future. And no one gets to take those away. Not even Lucian. One late autumn evening, I was waiting outside my office for Zoe. Landon pulled up to drop her off. She jumped out, ran straight toward me, waving a certificate in her hand. Mom, I won the city junior boxing championship. I knelt down, took the certificate, and read every single word. It said, asterisk Zoe, first place, women's division. City Youth Boxing Championship, asterisk. Stamped with a bright red official seal. Baby, I'm so proud of you. I hugged her tight. She wrapped her arms around my neck. Then she whispered, Mom. Dad called me. My hands froze for just a second. He said he wants to see me. Zoe murmured, I said I'd ask you first. I paused, then held her face gently and looked her in the eye. Do you want to go? She thought about it, then shook her head. No. He never came to see me before. Now he misses me? It's just because he's lonely. Mom. I don't want to be his distraction. I just stared at her. How could a 5-year-old say something so brutally clear? Mom, Zoe said, completely serious. No more daddy, okay? I just need you, Mom. I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. They streamed down my face. Not from sorrow, but from pure awe. That's my daughter. She gets it at 5. Some people aren't worth it. All right, I said. No more daddy. It's just us girls now. We'll build a good life. Golden light washed over us, stretching our shadows out, long and endless. Hand in hand with Zoe, I walked the path home. City lights ahead. Behind? Ashes and dust. Never looked back. Serena's story's just beginning.